How's it going? My name is Josh Hudson, and today you're going to learn a direct and simplified strategy to get your wife to let go of the past, to be with you more in the present moment, and to create a brighter and better future together. You're going to discover how to do this with 3 concepts that I laid out and I use with my clients to help them restore their marriage and relationships to better than they were before. If you're new here, I come out with videos at least 3 times a week, so press subscribe, smash the like button, and let's jump in. So let's start things off with a story. So there were these 2 monks walking down a riverbed, right next to it. There was one master monk and one student monk. Then all of a sudden, they came across a part of the river where they had to cross it. And they saw a woman, a geisha, who was dressed in all white with her makeup, looking pristine and beautiful. She looked really nervous as she wanted to cross the river, obviously, but not get wet. Without hesitating, the master picks up the geisha, walks through the water, gets his robes wet, puts her down on the other side. They bow to each other and continue walking on. About an hour goes by, and the master monk can tell his student is completely upset and frustrated. So he turns to his pupil and says, "What is bothering you?" And the pupil says, "Master, you know us monks are not allowed to do things like that. We cannot touch women. It is in our code." The master monk simply looks at the student monk with grace and says, "I put her down over an hour ago. Why are you still holding on to her?" So I'm going to come back to that story and use that as a framework to teach you one of the main points, but I want to start off with that story. Maybe it's already clicked for you when it comes to letting things go. The first concept you must understand about how to get your wife to let go of the past is figuring out why she first brings it up. So let's talk about selective memory and how memory works with human beings. Now, most women and men have many things in common. Actually, we have more commonalities than differences. However, the few differences do cause the problems and the issues. And one of the key differences, and we're speaking in generalities here because we have to, is that the majority of women process emotion and therefore action and their thoughts and their words a lot different than a man. Men tend to be more logical and direct, where women tend to be more indirect. So your wife is almost more like an oracle than an advisor. And when she's speaking to you in words that seem logical, but at the time they're also illogical, it's because really her emotion is guiding the way she thinks. If you think to yourself, why is my wife bringing up all these things now? If she was happy a month ago or last week, were these things really on her mind? Does she really mean this, that for years she's been holding on to this and not telling me? I understand how this can cause a lot of confusion and frustration for a man in a relationship. But once you understand how this actually works, you'll have a better perspective on how to operate from that new perspective to actually bring closer to your wife and help her let go of the past. So let me teach you a concept that I call the emotional tipping point, okay, or the emotional tipping scale. So I want you to imagine in a woman's subconscious mind, which our subconscious mind is the automatic mind, right? This is the old software in our brain. And oftentimes the first reaction we have to something comes from our subconscious mind, and it's the emotions that we feel. And then we use logic to justify, right? So if you see my beautiful brain here, it's just right here. So the subconscious mind and the amygdala, which is the fear center, the thalamus, what happens is that when information comes in through our eyeballs, right? Information comes in, we first process it automatically within a millisecond in our subconscious brain, and then we try to understand those emotions through logic. Now, with the emotional tipping scale, I want you to see it like this. Imagine there's this scale. And on 2 sides of the scale, we have one side is all the positive interactions you have with your wife, and on the other side is all the negative. Okay? Now, when you first got married to her, or you fell in love with each other, had sex for the first time, all these dates, you're producing positive emotional investments on this scale, right? Therefore, she sees you in the positive perspective. However, what happens over time is death through 1,000 cuts. All the times you disconnected from her, all the bickering, all the fighting, all the times that she got bored with you, all the times that you closed off. It's all these little tick marks over the years until a tipping point occurred where the ratio of positive to negative experiences shifted from more positive to more negative. And when that happens, let me give you a perfect example. When you're in the positive perspective and you call your wife and she sees your name on your phone, her immediate emotional reaction is like happiness, joy, because you're more of a source of positivity than negativity. And she says, "Hey, how's it going?" And she can only remember all the positive things you've done because she sees you in that positive light. However, as soon as this tips and there's more negative emotional experiences in her subconscious mind, subconscious meaning she's not aware of this process, all of a sudden when you call her, it's like, hey, or she doesn't even answer the phone, right? And everything you do, she sees through an emotional negative lens. Now I'm gonna teach you how to shift this back into the positive perspective with her with potency actions at the end of the video, so stick around for that. But I just want you to know this process for right now, that this thing is occurring, that currently there are more negative emotional experiences than positive. Okay, and that's why selectively, when she feels angry toward you or stressed out and you are the source of that stress, she can only remember all the bad times. Perfect example of when couples break up, right? Let's say you are balding, you're a little bit overweight. When she's happy with you, she's like,
that Buddha belly, I love it. Oh, I love that you have a shaved head like Jason Statham. Oh my God.
But as soon as you guys break up,
Oh my God, he was overweight. He didn't even like grow out his hair. Like I wish he had like longer hair.
it's like, what is real there? What's real is the way she feels. And I know logically this doesn't make sense because it's not a logical process, it's an emotional one, okay? All right, so now that you understand that, let's go into the second process of learning to let go, which is the law of reciprocity. You know, I know for a lot of men, look, I know your wife's not perfect or your girlfriend's not perfect. And I know that in relationships, pain is inevitable. Suffering is not. And most often, a wife is not letting go past things because you're not going first. A lot of men tell me, yeah, no, I've forgiven her for when she cheated on me. No, I've forgiven her when she said those awful words to me. But if you're gonna look at yourself in the mirror and say to yourself, when you think about that past event, if you have any emotional reaction to that pain, to that betrayal, you haven't fully let go. Let me read you a quote that really accurately sums up how to let go yourself. Sir, you have done enough, and you have performed a saint-like sorrow. No fault could you make, which you have not redeemed. Indeed, paid down, more pertinence than done trespass. At the last, do as the heavens have done. Forget your evil. With them, forgive yourself. Look, the word forgiveness is just that. It's just a word. So how can you truly know if you have forgiven someone? I mean, if you look at the word love, for example, you can love your pair of shoes, you can love playing a sport, you can love your wife, you can love your kids. Those are all different types of love. So when it comes to forgiveness yourself, are you like that monk? Are you like the master or the pupil? Have you let her go? Have you let go of all the things you've done yourself? I want you to think deeply about this, okay? I'm about to give you a simple strategy on how to really do this effectively, okay? And that goes through number 3, that forgiveness does free your soul. Because most often, if I were to really speak to the direct nature of men that are holding on to the past hurts, look, I've been there. We think somehow by not forgiving her, we feel self-justified. Like, why should I make her happy if she's hurt me so much? Look, resentment and holding on to that past is like you drinking poison, expecting her to die. Vishen Lakhiani, he is this founder of this self-development spiritual company called Mind Valley, and he talked about an experiment that he did where in Switzerland there's this MRI machine, that's brand new MRI machine that measures brain waves and activity like no other machine in the world, multi-million-dollar machine. Him, some celebrities and monks all went to Switzerland to do this test. And what he told me was that first they measured the monks and their brain waves who've been meditating for 20 plus years, 30 plus years sometimes, and the activity of peace that they had within their mind. And then over the course of the week, Vishen and all the other people that came to visit, they did this forgiveness exercise. And going through this process, they were able to fully match the brainwave patterns of the monks who've been meditating for 20 to 30 years, just off the simple exercise. Now, I don't have time to go over this full entire exercise in this video, but I do have it in my Marriage Mastery program. If you want a chance to understand how to learn to let go, how to get her to let go, what you can do right now is set up a free call by clicking the link down below in the description. Fill out the application, show that you are committed because we only have a select number of spots available per week to speak with one of our marriage evaluators. Because I'm telling you, this is what I tell men all the time when I first get on the phone with them, right? When it comes to this emotional tipping scale, the first thing is this, that you also have this scale in your mind as well. And for you, if you can see your wife in a complete positive perspective, you're able to show up more for her and give her what she needs. And part of erasing these negative emotional pains is letting go, okay? And lastly, I want you to think of your relationship as this house, okay? So you have this house, okay? Even if you learn all the correct communication strategies through the windows, masculine leading, and all the other things I teach on this YouTube channel, if you do not fix this foundation first, and the corrosive acid is resentment. No matter what you do correctly in your verbals, in your emotional expression, all these things, you're always gonna fall apart. And the reason why this is because when you hold on to even 1% of resentment, your wife's gonna latch on to that. She's gonna pick up that one tone you use, or that one word, or the one disconnect of eye tone, or the one disconnect of the way you looked at her. And she's gonna lock on to that threat. And she's gonna believe that you fully haven't let go. So she's gonna protect herself as well. Okay? This is step number 0 in order to restore your marriage to get your wife back. Okay? Again, if you need support, click the link down below, smash the like button. I'll see you in the next one.